Nakws'aatí Yagee Yoo X Nakws'aatí Yagee Yoo ʼatánk Yagee yes Nakws'aatí Nakws'aatí Yagee Yagee Halloween Nakws'aatí Yagee two Tlein Tlein Dulliachin a two team two Thai Yachty Ayanach Musakak Clash Eichach Ote Kayatatsu Kugwaz One Qanins Washin Kutzati Kugwaz Adachaye Osanini Tsegi Kawu Kashkadin Hosaku Adan Wishing Gitundatani Wash Yisaku Hoa Way Dlekachinach Puffball Mushroom Tsegi Kawu Sheikhi Vidu Asako at Ka Kleka Klek Achu Hasacha Watermelon berry Dlekachinach Haanikak Kina in Tsegi Kawu Kleku Hoa Vidu Asako Shaustla Awikach Owuz Uhanaya Tucha Wita Ukatek Tashuhan Gwasla Joey Tsiki Kawu Idus Tsiki Kawu Kleku Idus Kustin at We Klek Ako Say the Yang Edach Kudzati at Kasha Saya Kusi Pumpkin A Joey Klachki Yat Yat Kadu a Chako Sheikh Yachati at Gwashki we Pumpkin Daka Nuku Klek Yewech Twasagu Gwashwatuasa Pineapple too Dashuni Klek Cantaloupe Huasta Klek Yewe Hayukatangi Kuti Atwatu Wacha has to inaya we at Adatki Atjoy Adatawe Yukatisha at Akewu Nakws'aatí Yagee Askatu Yiksha Kewu Yatatsu Tsageti Tanu Ya Atiendachin Tanu Yisikuke Dasoi Tanu Dlekachinach Ya Tukane Gwash Dutla Tu Yeti a Yikta to cut away a Tanu to nach away atcha to kush 2 day aya Yeosene away Dutla Tsageti Tanu Dach away Kutzati Tsageti Tan Hesh Kwasakuish Kashnikwa Wusacha Gika Gwash a Chagi tsu Gwashi Satin Yai Chagi Yai Kat Ikach a Koyesh Yach Ausacha We Yai Kesh Ka Chagi Hoa Gwashi Satin the Katu Tsaki Ka Chagi Yidu Sako Ya Nakws'aatí Yagee Yoo X a Joey Wusacha Gika وسخاق أخاقي خوستي يدك ين ككوني تلقاق نختو إدخ أتسوقو أتساقي قل أتود أتساقي أخاقي كل خيتشن قل أساي إتواسكوتسو كل خيتشني يجي wait that's it قل إتواسكو يتواسا هنوين كل خيتشني نكتس يتتسو كلنكتسي جشوكو نكتس قاشلنكسي ساكنين كلنكسي جداسا أتسكني خو تل verb آيا تل تواشكو خو آخي أتخواقود تلياتكي تسكي قاوة وتستين أتسكني يوتي تلايك يادو وي verb كل خيط شن أتسكني خو ياتيخ يو أتسكني شيخ يخيتي توج يخيتي وإي قنيت تديخنا قنيت يأوي يلتسو شو الدساق قنيت وان قنينز دي واق أخا كاوتي قد خوكك دتلو آيا دو ياخ أوي كيو دوس يق أقاق هشيق أقوال دشلو قوال دو واق يأوي قيوة ووز يل يستينك قنيت لو قيقا دشلو Nakws'aatí آيا ناس كدوشو أخوس أتيانكوتي أخو لنجد خو Nakws'aatí تسو جلتكت bugs Nakws'aatí يدو ساكو أسكتو يكشا أوه ويتا آيا أسايتو وانقانيز بيرو هلكتين خواسكو ونخسايا يلا ويتاتو يلا adjective يدو ساك adjective أوه adjective ستي يلا دانا counterfeit money يلا imitation يخيتي أدري كاخ شقاوت ليل ياتاتسو أوت ليل يل كنخيك verb آيا يل يلا تشوكو يل أدخ قشيسكو ويش كشنيك توت تطلع آيا تلوسا دو ييت يل تلساي قصي قشكو دخنت وقت قيس كت شياو زنوكو شانقو قيس آيا أوشات يل تتواسكو قو داقنا Tlein like yan utlaich ka daku daich ajawe ko owa yawtlaq chikleko adkhantu wakut oya o ye osa yel qitli ye awa shukho aya osa qachin qidakh aya الشا Ye nida u. Gwashwe yesha. Isha ye nida u. Ina ye nida u. Gwash. Jadasa we costume. Gwash ye kaki u. Aka yata yach. Pokemon yach. Shchote u. Gaudan yach. Shchote u. Ka yata we Macbeth wishkashnik klingit klinach aya. Kun aya kaututlanik. Chak. Cast Tlein. Well, casti Tlein. We Nakws'aatí Yagee Tlein. Hiich. Well, ganins kasagu tin aya adadiu kagachtu Harry Potter adasa hiich. Klingitun de tane kwa hiich. Eka. Kullachetshan. Gwal katuasagu. Nikdain aya ye usane. Hiich tin. Awa hiich. Yeah, awa. Kashi. Just play at ge awa hu awa watuasa. Kashi atiqsiqa. Nakws'aatí. Wait that's hiuchach. What qalins just sagutin. Adat hiuch oututlaatk. Qeqa qoa. Kullachitl shani atawe Nakws'aatí. Chagawe ye wuti. Hechwa, yake at hechwa. Nakws'aachtua sagu. Kut ke ik kwasha yeesh. Lledzi, gwall trick or treat, just nasgiw ʼatánk. Led kach enach. Nakws'aach sagu gwall kut ke ik kwasha yeesh. Gwall yata tsu. Yeesh. Yeesh yw ʼatángi yata ach. Qeid ai woo. Gwall ye ka Cain qua oots. Put out the yeesh. Gwall ashkag ukotin. Yesachwaach. Yeesh gashnik. Gwall gachti tu achan hechasaku. Ka tesh ke chatka kisha yeesh. Shakshani chedach ayayata. Sagutin. Hoa atwashuk. Chitle away yawakai. Wel, llell nwgtach gide cychreiti cwt ce ic chwalla yeell. Yada tu. Neil li cychwall sy'n. Cell a sa a chydide una gwt ga. Ca tina cagwch dy gan a chydide an gagwdyd. Ie awa. Gwalli an achs. Ie awa. Ie, wel ti siw hon. I tu agos ag yw chi tani. Ie, wel ti. Was as I ti?
Yagee Yoo X Yagee Yoo. Today we've been 20 years in our house.
Okay, o'i idlafi. Oh. Yatatsu. Let's say. Okay. Puzzle gawaya. Kan kananik dasaway glade hawkinach. Klish glade kachuhu in. Kashid zedak. Oh, gwashiataya. Let's say. Oh, talach jinwe. Klish glade kachuhu in. Kashid zedak. Klidzi. Oh, gwashiataya. Jadechat nu. Just Yagi Yal 2 o'clock yata. What could it be?
Don't snow on me.
Okay, so we have don't and we have snow. And I'll probably separate this.
The een is with
Okay.
a person or people.
Okay. We are certainly on the right track. And then we're going to get to
Snowing on someone's head is the verb. That's
there's
prohibitive.
head on there. Okay. Okay.
Kachuhu. Klechwasaka.
It's snowballs at people's head.
Oh. So chuch, it means to pat something or mold it. So chuch is for working with clay, snowballs, massage, any of those things. Anything like you kind of just work with your hands. You would chew some dough maybe, make a pizza. And then oh, you know what? I bet you I got to get the audio again. I bet you it's that because it's crazy. Okay, so if I thought it's that, then, and the reason I think it's that is because I know what the verb root is. Anybody know what this verb root does not look like this? What kinds of things go to way? It changes to way.
U, like asaku and saknu. Yeah.
And okay, so okay, let's do this. What is awshiqu? Oops, that should be low. Awshiqu.
It's like to wipe something, right?
Yeah, away. And how would I get? I'll give you a big hint.
I know it goes Gwain, something.
Okay. It's only two. Well, there's three things we gotta add. We do have the ending though, which is huge.
The way.
Say it again.
It's going to be ye.
Yep, so there's a yay. Dachau yech.
Ashi Gwain.
There's an L.
It's going to be a na.
Yanachkoin. Or Yanachkoin, sorry. They are wiping it. Okay, okay, okay. And what is Nakws'aatí?
I know it.
And how am I going to get?
Yay.
It won't. This one is
No, yeah.
it's. Oh wait, this is 0. Sorry,
Okay.
it's not. It's a 10. It's a 10 conjugation.
It's a 10 verb. Oh no.
We're introducing 6 more conjugation types. No, I'm just kidding. Typo. So if it's qa, it must be ye in this form we call progressive imperfective. You will also have ye for every time in the future. Ye aguchlaqu. They are going to wipe it. And because it's an L classifier, so if the classifier is going to be sa, sha, da, sha, it has to go guch for the third person. Must go guchla, guchsa, guchsha, guchta. Every single time, non-negotiable. Oh, okay, so I switch this, sorry. We'll do that, it'll be a little easier. They're getting to know it.
It's going to be Nakws'aatí.
Queen, is that what you said?
Yeah, Nakws'aatí.
Yeah, Anna's queen.
Nakws'aatí. Sure.
Okay, just like ya atnas queenie. That's where that whole thing comes from. Ya atnas queenie, ya Anna's queen. Right? Ya Nakws'aatí queen. I'm getting to know it. Okay. And how about that? The front should look an awful lot like that. An awful lot like that. Except maybe not an L.
Ya Anas.
There's no ya, because it's just it's a future, so we don't need the ya. Oh, and yes, okay, hold on. Okay. So I guess there's a couple of things we're doing here just for, so 0 and na. These two have a lot in common. These are pals, okay? And so what they do have in common, if in a progressive imperfective, they're going to get ya, na. Okay, those are the two things that have to be there. And for a future, nothing's needed. Okay, so we're sort of looking at a couple different things here. So when you go ga, the progressive is, let me just put progressive in there. It's going to be K na, right? K na kain, K na tzin. No guesses, no surprises, totally predictable stuff. So you're going to get this, and you get the na in there for like it's starting to happen. K na gut, they're walking up it, right? Future also gets K. every single time. Kekwake, keguchletzin, right? Every single time. And the qa is exactly like that, but in the opposite direction. Okay. So now we got awshiqu, yinishquin, ye'aguchlagu. So this one, the future, nothing is needed. So we'll go right to a guch. What's the rest gonna be?
Saku, ku.
Ooh, ye'away, ye'away. Okay. I will put ade in front of this because it is a motion verb. And I'll do it to this one too, which will just make these na verbs. Both of them are na, okay? But what is ade woohoo?
That they're waiting
Yes,
towards.
weighted toward it. And there is one other definition.
Maybe dog paddle? Yes.
And so that we call it dog paddling in English, but this would be any type of animal that swims like that. Beaver, any type of single animal that's swimming like that. Okay. So let's stick with, well, I guess still wading toward it. And we'll just put a slash for like dog paddling. Ade. So this one has no up. Oh, whoops, sorry. I missed an object up there. Yeah, anashkoing. Gee. Gotta wipe something. Can't just wipe. So this one should look a
Does
lot.
it become Hain?
No. I mean, it probably does now. But there's one more thing that needs to be there. Because we go from oo to what? So there's oo. If we just look at the vowel, we go oo to wane. So this should be ade, ya, na, wane. You can't have an HW. It's very rare. It probably just would absolutely vanish except for some very high level older speakers who would keep it there. Ade Yanahuin. I just want to go over the top with the HW thing. Okay. So how about they will wade dog paddle toward it. So gonna have all day. There's not going to be any, in this case, the classifier will be 0, so it won't go guchsa. But there's a vowel in ade at the end of that. So that's going to trigger it into, it should start with a K. What's my next letter? Ade.
Qua.
Wa. Yeah, where? Kuch. who's there? Okay, so this needs, we need to add that. Okay.
Une,
Ah,
kukwahu. There's some places where I've seen K, G underline, and also K, K underline.
Oh,
Is there a pecking order or,
well, like this.
ah,
Anybody want to translate that one for me?
I will.
So we are going to find, and we're going to go over this thing next, right? When you have qa, like that is qa in there, right? And for a third person, like it doesn't have to change. But if you add qa and kha, you'll get qa. It'll switch to an underlying K. That's the way those two like to combine. And you'll see it all the time. That's why you say, "Itke qadishi." Can I help you? Right? Because qa and kha equal qa. And that's what happens for all the futures. That's why you get that underlying K for all the first person futures. So there, the underlying G, and that's such a subtle difference between underlying G and underlying K to say like they versus me. Good question. Okay, all you ooh verbers. We're ooh verbing tonight. Scary. Atskani. A days. Now I had to add the hus in here. A days wugu.
means they traveled like a fleet of killer whales or a fleet of boats, or Jiskun Teslin even used it with a group of cars traveling together.
Yeah, so a road is a river, a boat is a car is a boat, and boats are killer whales. Those are all, it all adds up, right? So just like you kuch along a river and you are yik on that river, same thing. Kuch on a road, yik in the road. A group of killer whales, like a pod, so you pod it over there, I don't know. But a pod of killer whales would go ades wugu, right? So this is, motion verbs are always going to be wild. They're always going to do different things once we get into plurals. And sometimes it's just a totally different verb, right? And this is nothing unusual, right? Wugut, wuat, those are totally different verbs. But the only real change is like the stem. But you'd say wushich, they ran over there. So ade wushich. I guess I'll just do this one. And if you're from Yucatan, ade wushich. Fine. And then, so this is they ran over there. But what about they all ran over there? It's ade. We'll just contract that hus to just the S. We'll do this in the progressive too. It'll get wide.
That Suaguk.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Right, so sometimes you just get a whole different verb. So in this case, this is the same thing, right? So they are fleeting over. And I'm just going to say fleet. That's just what we're going to say. Travel in a fleet of boats or canoes or a group of cars. You can all go over there. You're going to all go to the same place. You're going to follow each other around. That's how it's going to work. So we are going to have, oh, you know what? Whoa. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, folks. I think I forgot a chunk. Let me double check. Confirmed. Yawagu. Adechatnu. All you boaters and Keet. So we're gonna have odd days. This has been our pattern. Odd day. So you got ya na huin, ya anasquin, ya anashquin. There's a whole song about it. Or at least it's in a song.
Wasquane.
Y-
Yeah. So we got
Yana Gwain,
yeah, oh,
right?
yep.
Yeah,
So,
no,
yeah. So the ya, and so we'll see. Like this is the ya built onto the verb. It's the thematic prefix. Got to keep it on there. We'll see if we've got yawagu. This is not conjugation, and so this is a zero group classifier, right? So that's how you're getting yawa, right? And so if you had yawa, then you're gonna have yana gwain. Ye ya yana gwain he de kite. And then they are gonna fleet over there. We're gonna have that in there somewhere.
Kagwagu.
And then we're just gonna get one part right on the front. So that ya is on there, so it's gotta stay on there. It just pops up right in the same spot it's supposed to. ʼatánk, right? So this fleet of boats or this group of killer whales are gonna go over in that direction. All this gets us back to here. So I do think, and I'm gonna have to listen to this again too. So we were, there's a verb here. So like, this is what it would look like in a perfected. Probably be this.
really?
Huh?
Oh, okay.
So a shawadzu. Does anybody know this zoo verb root?
That like to throw a missile?
Yeah, it's to throw something and use it as a missile. So if you're throwing rocks is a verb with qiyq on there. But if you're throwing that rock to hit something, especially like for hunting or trying to injure somebody, then it switches to zoo. So this is the verb that they were using when they're talking about bowling in Tlingit. It's to throw something with the intention to hit something, to use it as usually as like a weapon, right? And so it's a great verb for snowball fights. And we had the first snow at the language nest. And so of course, all the little kids are throwing snowballs at one teacher in particular. And then I was like, and we kept saying Italy, Italy, day away, right? So very short form. And I was like, oh, there's gonna be some kind of, and I thought maybe it would be uwuk or something. And so what happens is it's closing to put that suffix on there. And so sometimes when they do this, and I got the recording, I think it's on my phone. I might have to have Shkuye send it again. But then if it closes, then I'll bet you it's going to go to Zui. But Zui is also too crazy, so that W might go away. So this is don't throw snowballs at people. Just an important phrase this time of year because it's fun, but then someone's going to get hurt and all the kids are going to have cold hands too. So we just We weren't ready for it. Plus, it's fun for a little while and not very fun after that. Thoughts, questions, and we did all these Halloween phrases, which were fun.
Nay, I have just a quick question.
Oh.
So in the progressive imperfective, do some verbs that have doc, does that doc wipe out the,
Yes,
okay.
yes. And so
Mhm.
when you look at the tied verbs, because we just talked about this today too, because someone was saying, like for the tide to go up, it's okay. It's just a day of 1,000 tabs. That's just how it's going to go. So if we go up and we're looking for dak uwada, right, is for the tide to come in. And so October was a good time. This Tlein, because you got big, huge tides in October. So like I think about that all the time because I'll drive past and I'm like, oh, look, the water's way up higher than usual. And I don't know, every October I'm like, oh yeah, confirmed. Right? So here you have dak, zero conjugation, da, zero motion, right? And so here you've got dak, nadine. So you don't have to have ya, dak, ya, nadine, right? And so that dak in that case takes the place of it, which will be interesting to see how that works for other verbs. Like you could say, if, I don't know if they'd have it.
What about late doc, nastan?
That's a, oh yeah. Yeah, because yeah, you'd say dak nastan. So then dak and dak seem to cancel out that need. Which I wonder if Gagi would do it. Gagi nagut. They're emerging. So then I think you could say dak nagut. They're emerging. Or dak nagut. They're going into the darkness. Which is fitting on today, right? It's just what's going to happen. That's interesting. Because yeah, we were just going over that today. That's really neat sometimes, like how things like line up and people are looking at the same stuff. Let me check the chat.
I had a question. We were talking, Tu sina at aus akalagan, a sample sentence. And I'm not, I wasn't sure if the ut was the same one we were talking about last week, with the us went on the outside.
So like they lit a lamp or something like that.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so you come here.
There we go.
And then, so whenever you see this N in front of it, this is like usually it's an indirect object, that's what it's called. So usually like it's verb to N, which is just short for noun, right? So I mean, plug any noun in. So you could say t'inat would be, that's how you'd attach it to the lamp. And then when you take a look at it, and some of these are only in third person. But that's fine because we're learning how to use, now we could put this, once we see it though, and we can get to a point where we're like, oh, that's a zero, I should be able to predict everything it's gonna do. There should be a in front of it for the perfective habitual, there should, getting into some of those other ones take a while. But in this case, and there's no one who's like doing that, so we're going to switch to the L classifier because you could say the lamps are burning, and in that case you'd say t'inach dacha kaullagan. So dacha kaullagan would probably take care of that. But if we go down to the one with the L classifier, which is for someone to turn on the light, turn on the lamp, set fire to the thing. And then if we see, oh, well, I don't see a perfective here. This is a different ʼat than the ʼat that's an object. So because it's an indirect object, now this thing is out in front of the entire verb itself. So you would say ʼat has a kaushagan, or tsinat has a kaushagan. They lit the lamps.
Right.
Renee?
Ah,
So when it's a nominative and it's out, or an indirect object and it's out in front, then in Tlingit, you use the independent form of the pronoun, whereas in English, there's an indirect object form.
well, that if you wanted to say, okay, so if you want to say they lit them on fire, then you couldn't. It would have to be slightly different than this.
Ah, okay.
And so what you would end up with, it would do a very similar thing, but what needs to take the place of that would be to eat. That's what I would expect, unless you're going to use like a body part. Do jint a kaushagan, which is, it's getting a little graphic, but it's just a Halloween thing. Like it was a fire, or I don't, maybe they had to, but yeah. So I think this, when in most cases when you have n there, if you needed to put a person, you would end up with a possessive pronoun, which is also another common thing, right? Yi'in kak kunik. I'm going to tell you, right? Ach ititawaha. I got sleepy. Okay.
Goodness, sheesh.
Any other thoughts or questions? Don't be scared.
So on these verbs, when you have N with a T, you're saying you can have N with an N too?
Well, some of them, like, so when you see the T with this tilde, that means it's going to change sometimes. And this is pretty, like, it's going to be ut, unless you're talking about repetitive, then it's going to be ach, right? And so this is what makes the prohibitive gets a little bit difficult, because it's going to be one of two things. It's going to be either the negative imperfective or the negative progressive the negative repetitive, what am I saying? Repetitive imperfective, right? And so here you should have ach akishagan or something like that. And you go down here and you see ach akshagan. So some verbs you would look up you take the repetitive imperfective for the second person and add shesh on the front and ik or uk or underline k at the end. So the prohibitives do get a little bit difficult to guess, but it's going to be one of those two. It'll either be this in a second person with shesh and then an underline k, or it's going to be an imperfective. And this one doesn't have an imperfective. So then you should know it's like sheshu ikuk. Don't drive. Don't go. Right? That was the red light thing. But that has an underline, that has a kuch and then an underline, it has the K on it, right? Because you get you and the K at the end, like ʼatánk. So then you would expect ʼatánk, which we can check. Let's check the prediction. So go to Tan. We got a whole bunch of these. I think it's towards the bottom. Yucatan. Right, so then they do, all things do become predictable. But for us, it's a matter of like unpacking all of the patterns and sort of like, we'll get to I think we'll do the perfective, then we'll do the future, and we'll do the negative perfective. I think I like to go perfective, future, negative perfective. And then we start expanding from there, getting into the hortative and habitual are really good to do next. And then the progressive imperfective and the repetitive imperfective. And then I haven't really gone much beyond that. But you can learn them all. Right? And there's this other one too that I don't think is documented yet. And so I'm still messing around with it. I still have some questions with it, like, so it doesn't happen, right? Which I think would be Gedein Janidaus Igunikwa. But I want to check that ga because I have questions about whether it's an underline or not. I don't think it is, but sometimes I see it as an underline. But that means so it doesn't happen. Wash your hands carefully so you don't get sick. Okay. Okay, Johan. Gulchish.
All right, one more question for me, hopefully a quick one. I put something in the chat there about but I was wondering what that cut is right at the beginning.
Oh, where? Okay. Let me see if I can find it. I have seen this before.
Because I'll throw one more sentence up. It's right near there, but I'll just see if I can. I'll just find the English for this too, if I can.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. I feel like I have this. Because if you have chakat, it's at least.
Oh, I see.
I
Okay.
think the place I really remember seeing it is in the Raven book. So let me find it, and it's in that. It pops up all over the place. So let's go. We'll look at a couple examples and see if we can tease this thing out, and then we'll look in a couple of different sources and see if we can find it, which we might not be able to. So there is. So here's the Raven book. So this is. Let's roll up. So this is Nakws'aatí Yagee Yoo X, and it's told by Susie James. So in this case, she's got Shekik at Tai at Acha Koneta Werke Konek. And so let's see. So the first thing to remember, this is Raven talking to the people. This is the way that Raven tricks people, is he just gets really sneaky with the way he talks. And I think it's so no one can understand him. And then they're like, I sure take it, you know. And so here, maybe that's what's eating all that fat is the alien. So there's one instance. Let me go. So here is this is and so when she uses it here, right? And so I think this is the place where we got some explanation right from Zeosh. The word kat here is usually part of the adverb in chakat, at least, after all. And so, but I think I know it's in here at least in one other place. And let me see if I could just go to the story and see if I find it. I remember seeing it in, not that one. just tai Nakws'aatí Yagee. And so when we go down to this one is really fun. When so this one was told at the Portland Art Museum, looking at the hat that was made for this, which they shouldn't have. It should be back in our home. But so he told the story of this, Danawak, Austin Hammond, his Nakws'aatí. And then while he told it, Hutzi Anna Katzik was translating live, and she's Shangukedi and also Nakws'aatí Yagee. You can also hear her son, David Katzik Kingisti, talking a little bit on the recording, giving some directions. And then two people, no, who was it at the end? Hold on. Then at the end, let's see, hold on. Oh, maybe it's at the beginning, sorry. Okay. I've got it on my notes somewhere, but two elders sing the song. So they've got the story, they've got the piece, they've got the song. For me, that's like the three things that prove that that thing belongs back with us, but maybe it came back, I don't know. But what was really neat is he's telling the story, then he pauses for her to translate, but she knows the story. So she also tells it, and they're actually just slightly different versions. And it's really neat because they're both wonderful versions. So Kheokhne and I, we sat down and just did a line by line. And so they're both included here. Nothing cancels anything out. It's all additive. And then you can listen to it. It's very fun. Maybe we'll listen to it before we go tonight. And then, but then when we get down to here, I don't know, because Kheokhne and I worked on this. And I heard it, but I don't think I remember asking her about it, right? Just tai Nakws'aatí Yagee. Raven really loves to eat only fat. So it seems to be a way to say just or only, but like a slightly different way to say it. Just at least, you know, I'll have to find a definition and put it in.
Yeah, I'll ask Keishi because that's actually her language that I posted there.
Okay.
But it would make sense when you say a cut a yanach coupe, where it's a lot bigger, quite a bit bigger than that, at least, or bigger than that. And then the same with the getting darker, as the sky got more dark type of thing, or yeah, but I'll double check that with her as well. Yeah, and sheesh.
Yeah, because it could be saying something like it was right at that exact time, kind of a thing.
Okay.
Seems
Okay.
like it's what it's doing, because like when you say Nakws'aatí Yagee, because you say Nakws'aatí, you know, tai Nakws'aatí, they really eat fat. They eat a lot of fat. But if you say tai Nakws'aatí, then for some reason it sounds like, yeah, that's really all they eat. Sheesh. Yagee. Other thoughts, questions? Are we good?
What's a Nakws'aatí zombie?
We just call it ʼatánk is what, but you know, you could maybe do something different.
And if it were a zombie from the water, what would you call it?
Hintak.
Hintak Sikikais?
ʼatánk, I think.
Sikikau.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so zombie is a West African word, I think,
Hmm.
which comes from fetish.
Hmm.
Because I guess like, so vampire, I didn't go with like I just went with what it does. So you could say ʼatánk Yagee Yoo. Isn't that what they usually go for?
Mm-hmm. Ah,
ʼatánk Yagee Yoo. Ka,
ah,
the people who eat people's brains.
mm-hmm.
We'll add it to the lists and bring it to the committee whenever they form.
Yeah, goed.
Put it under vampire. And I'll share this. ʼatánk Yagee Yoo.
And ʼatánk suck French fries. Thai Yagee? Thai?
Oh,
I'm just playing.
well, so ich cut saknin is fry bread. So I think ich cut kunz could be French fries, but then we need to get like that sort of long shape that they're kind of cut in. I don't know what's really like that.
Sticks.
Oh yeah,
Wouldn't it require a handling verb of some sort to account for the shape?
they could, well, if you were handing them to somebody, like an individual French fry would probably require like achjit kasatan, where ich cut kunz. Maybe we just go with ich cut kunz, and we said that's gonna be French fry. Call something with different for potato chip. Gonna cheese for the notes, everybody. Oh, okay, yeah, sa and sa. Those are other one like. So you'll never run out of stuff to explore in this beautiful language. Oh yeah, they're freedom fries now.
Belgians insist they aren't French.
Oh, really? Okay.
Uh,
We just said ich cut kunz. There's no French in there at all. So we've corrected it. What am I looking for? Hold on. There we go. Let's get to the end of this. Where did we leave off? Okay, we did this. ʼatánk, ʼatánk, ʼatánk. There's the pattern. A nice, straightforward verb. It's not going to have some different root when we go plural. It's not going to do anything totally unusual. So here they are. Sa'i, right? Sa, a high-toned, long E. For happening right now. They all are cooking. And not cooking it. That's why we have ʼat. Pretty easy switch though. You change ʼat to the third person object. Usually for a third person. Usually nothing for everyone else. And then you've got cooking it. And we should also expect ʼat. ʼat, ʼat. If you add that in front of this one, you got it.
Nakws'aatí.
Yeah, ʼatánk. Y'all are cooking. Cooking with gas.
At Yisai.
At Yisi. Keep it short though. Yep. Okay. Because yeah, at Yisi. Okay. We are cooking. Vowel in the classifier. It's gonna be short. Change it to t.
ʼatánk.
Yeah, well, what does the E? This one's gonna trigger a change. What's the change gonna be?
At dus I.
Yeah, away. ʼatánk. D pushes it plus D. And then when you have plus D minus I, it's just the letter. ʼatánk. People are cooking. Okay, Johan. Not very many left. Well, maybe. There's a few left. Okay, so now we're gonna hash. These are subject only. If you want an object for this one, you remove that plus D. You can add the object, it cancels out the D, and then you just go back to a 0 classifier. But just to say cutting, so this isn't cutting it, it's just, I'm just cutting. What are you doing? I'm cutting. Whatever, I don't know. Strange conversations, but the idea is just to show you these examples so you don't have to worry about objects, subjects at the same time, but we will for the next ones. And then we'll start moving them perfectives, all this other stuff, okay? They are cutting. I think, let's see, to test my memory, I'm going to say long and high. See if I'm right. And this is an act verb in the imperfective, must be minus D. I mean, must be minus I. So what's the classifier going to be? You're just going to go classifier, stem. It's the only things you're going to have here.
The hash.
The hash. Look at my stem prediction. So now you and we follow these same rules. Vowel in the classifier, short. No vowel in the classifier, long. So it's going to be I. And then the rest is right there in front of you. You are cutting. Throw I right in front of this. ʼatánk.
The hash.
ʼatánk. I'm cutting.
Hash.
Hash would be I am cutting it. So yes, but we are looking for the D version. Hash. And so yes, and there's way more common to just use the standard version of this, which has an object. So you'd have achash, ichash, chachash. They're cutting it, you're cutting it, I'm cutting it. But this one with this deep, and there are verbs that do this though, especially like this one does. It's not very common to say I'm cutting, but it's, I guess if you're cutting meat or something, someone calls you on the phone, what you say, like writing and reading is probably more common than like cutting. That's okay. They all are cutting. Throw a Hassan from that first one.
Astakach.
That's the hash. Y'all are cutting. It's gonna be short. Short vowel.
Yidachash.
Yidachash. We are cutting. Vowel in the classifier is gonna be short. T. Just put t in front of it. I heard it. Yidachash. People are cutting it. You cannot go duda. So it has to revert back to the minus D form, which will be 0 classifier. So you're just going to have du and chash, which sounds like
The chash.
Yuchash. Yeah, away. Okay. Okay, good cheese. Sweeping. It's a ka. So if you can put it in the future, you got to have yay in front of it. Yay, yay, yay. Okay. This will follow the same thing. I do think this one is hitko. So there are some, for me, it seems like if the verb is made up of several little actions, like sweeping isn't just one action, right? Sweeping is like, that's why I think it gets that KW in there. So it's going to be duh. And we'll just look at the first one so that we can see what the stem does because it's wild. The hit. But now we got it, right? Hit. Short high. It's got this KW thing at the end. Okay. I just have to accept it. But now I can do all the other parts. Because if we go back to this, what we are doing is we're going da, ida, chada, hasta, yida, tuda, du. This will do the exact same things for the prefix all the way down. Like they will all be the same, right? So once we have dehitku, to say you are doing it, we'll put I in front of it. And what would that sound like?
Ihitku.
We gotta keep the da though, because you can say
Idihitku.
yes, idehitku. So if you had that as it would go long, ihitku, you're sweeping it. And again, that's probably the way you'd usually say this, right? These are just to show you how to move through. Okay. I am sweeping. I think I heard it. Chedehit. Oh, look at that. They're all there. Somebody forgot a step.
Okay.
Let me explain here. So I write these all out, and sometimes it's a lot of copying and pasting, changing whatever needs to be changed over here. Then I make a copy. So I'll make a copy, and then I'll go up to the, wait, where'd it go? No, I got to duplicate. I'll duplicate, go up, and delete this, 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 this. Boom. And then I go back down, duplicate, and I go, oop, this, 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 this. And then
Wait,
I go,
wait, Gunate. How's the name?
yeah, yeah.
There we go.
So now we got hastahit, yidihit, tudihit,
Today.
duhit. Right, so a lot of these that are going to have this D plus in there, like you're going to see a bunch of them. They will all follow the same pattern as far as the prefix goes. And now what we're doing is we're learning this set of prefixes. Like, okay, I changed the stem. I changed the stem, and now I got it's a different verb, right? So this whole same pattern, we went from chash to hitku. That's the only thing we changed. And now we're saying different things, right? So the imperfective, the biggest problem with it is the stem is really just not predictable. It's sad. Because the prefix is very easy. Because there's really just the object and subject and whatever else is in there. You don't add a perfective or anything else. So it just goes, it's pretty straightforward. Then you usually only have a couple things in there. So it's not a lot of contraction too. So same thing. We're going to have da. So we should have da, ida, chada, hasta, yida, tuda, du, right? And then here, you're also gonna, it's a bunch of little repeated motions. So you're gonna have usk, short with a KW, just like the last one, right? So maybe there are some patterns here, some familiarities. So they are washing. I just told you, but you gotta put it together. Start with da.
Usk.
Nakws'aatí Yagee
Oh,
Yoo.
it changed.
What changed?
Usk.
Nakws'aatí Yagee Yoo. I am washing.
Nakws'aatí
Nakws'aatí Yagee Yoo. They are washing. They all are washing. Sorry.
Hasta usk.
Hasta usk. Y'all are washing. Nakws'aatí Yagee Yoo. We are washing.
Nakws'aatí
Nakws'aatí Yagee Yoo. People are washing. So you can't do da. So you go du. And then whatever your stem is. Du.
Nakws'aatí
Nakws'aatí Yagee Yoo. Got a few Halloween hesitators on here. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. Huchiayu.
Scary.
It's the last verb. Wait, hold on. Is that what I'm gonna say? Oh, let me check my work. Let me check my work. Go down to chait. We did a bunch of he. We did have to use this one today. This does happen with as kids learn how to eat. Everybody was fine, but that's why we say don't play with your food. Sorry. It's also not good to chew them out after they get scared because they got something stuck in their throat. Okay, so we got chait. So this is an unusual verb. So whatever you're scared of gets this on it. I've also heard it with dach as well. So like you say cage to be scared of a dog. Be scared of a ghost. Whatever the thing is, right? But you have the on there. And so when is noted in the theme, it will not go away. It has to be there. And so like ʼatánk, ʼatún, right? Some of them, like you can, ʼatún is like hunting, but you can drop the and convert it to an object if you're hunting something. Quwaqan, or I guess I'll do Aqsani Tlein, Elmer Fudd, yeah, waqa. Qach, chatloon. Ja, gach, chatloon. Okay. So, and then this one also has ka and which I guess if someone's looking for some kind of research project, go find the verbs that have ka and because some of them do. And what that tells me is it's probably this ka, and there's 3 ka, remember that, right? You can have, I think you can only have 2 of them though. But this one would be compared to, because compared to likes to pair with the irialis. That's why you say yekuge and yekusigink, because that is on there. And the reason is because usually you're saying, well, it's this big. So because it's doing a comparison, it throws the irialis in there. So it just changes the shape of this verb, right? So for example, there's a lot of speakers who'll say kuna'aq for the command form for try, because classically I think that irialis is supposed to be in there. It's going to be a D plus L classifier. Chait It's not going to change. And it's a g state verb. That means in the future you are going to get K. So then you'd have don't be afraid of it. And then you can also put a, you could say, I won't be afraid of it. But I might be afraid of it because there's a lot of things to remember in there. So you would change that underline G to an underline K to say me. And then this you can substitute like I can be afraid of no dog. That's a mouthful. Okay. Back to our final verb. Okay. Then we're done with this whole slideshow. I'll put the entire slideshow up. The whole thing will be revealed after we do this verb. So this one is different than the others. It will have a different shape because it's going to get a suffix. What kind of suffix goes on this one? It's only in my firstborn child's name. So if you don't get it right, it's no big deal. It's only my firstborn child. No, just kidding. Just kidding. This closing.
Case. Or case.
Yes. So the S apostrophe means it's repetitive, but it means to do something in a repeated series. That's why it works really well for sewing, because it's like up, down, right? Whatever that pattern, you're making a pattern with it. So there's some verbs that are going to get this, but they're usually becomes kind of clear. So this, again, this is not sewing a vest, but we can switch it very easily once we figure out the pattern. So it's going to be underline K, long high vowel, and it's going to be S. But what happens to when you close it?
Case.
Yes, the case. They are sewing. If you want to say they're sewing it, actually you just take the letter D right off of there. A case. They're sewing a vest. They're sewing some mittens. So, but now we've got the whole thing. We've done we already did those just like the last three verbs. We're going to go da, ida, chada, hasta, yida, tuda, do. And then just straight to the, but you're going to have case all the way down, right? So what we're seeing is like pattern, 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 right? As we learn these new verbs, we practice what it's like to change the subject, but then we see like, oh, like I can get this, that prefix will be the same all the way through these. You are sewing.
In a case.
The case. I am sewing.
had the case.
At the case, right? So you're sewing a shirt. Das case. I'm sewing some moccasins. Right, so that letter D, it just drops out if you add the object back in. Oh, look at that. There's all the answers. We haven't finished the slideshow. Has the case, yet the case, to the case, the case. Well, then what's after this? What's going on here? I've reached the end. Ach, yejene, shoot, I would to the art. I don't know why I went plus D with that. We have reached the end of my work. Oh. Now this is a big mess. What is going on here? Don't even
Hey,
know.
Lance,
Oh, you know what? I think I know what it is. There's more verbs in the workbook that aren't in here. Yeah.
did you say I am sewing a shirt is kudas a case or kudas case?
Well, for me, kudat's chakes. So if we
So
want,
you take the DA out when you say shirt.
yes, because the actual process here is we do have what am I doing? Hold on. Capital O. I don't know why we're in italics. Okay. This will be, go find some kind of nice shade of blue here. This is what the verb looks like. And I would say the way to think about this is there's a whole set of verbs, and not every verb does this the same way. But there is a process to say, like, yes, this is a verb with both an object and a subject. The object can be removed, but it's got to go through a set of different processes. And one of them is to have a plus D version. And then there's just a set of them that sort of follow this. And reading does it. So you go from like atu, they're reading it, to datu, they are reading. Cutting, reading, sewing, sweeping, washing. There's a set of them that do that. Then there are other ones where you switch the object to ut. And now that's the way you lock up the object spot. Atchacha, I'm eating. I'm eating something. That's literally what you're saying. So what beginning Tlingit does is it presents, and it, when you learn from beginning Tlingit, it's not like people say, well, we've made all these intransitive. We forced the object out of there. There's a fancy word for it. I can't remember what it was. It was like a object. Do you remember what Zeush was calling it? I was going to make a sign because I was going to make a protester with like a no object sign because it was something like that. It's like, anyways. But I would say there's a bunch of these verbs where the natural form is to have an object and a subject. And then it has to go through some sort of change. There are some exceptions. And one of them would be to be dirty. It's very hard to tell. Because if you'd say that could be I'm dirty or they got me dirty. But that's pretty rare. It's pretty rare that you have one that's the same way. Right? And so you could tell, this is where these things you got to make sure you're using the right one, right? Because some people will say, isa'i, right? Or yisa'i, you cooked it. But if you say iwsi'i, that means, or it'd be iwus'i, I got cooked. Or they cooked me. But yes, so this one, you just drop the D and then you've got the object version on there. Okay.
So you drop just the D, not the D and the A.
Well, the DA, yeah. The DA has to go. Because if you go, what you're doing is you're saying, let's just go to the minus D version, and that's going to be 0.
So you say kadas case.
Well, it'd be a case, because then you'd have an object and a subject, both third person. That means the object's got to be a.
Kadas a case.
Uh-huh. And then you'd have, so you'd say, like, so if I took this one and I said, and we'll put kudas on there, and then you'd say a case. And then what happens here is this will change to 0, but that means this has to go long. Kudas a case. And then for this, just get rid of it. Chadaqis, right? Because cha doesn't need to change. And then if we go back to our, I have to fix this in post, as they say. So if I duplicate this, and then I'd say kudas has aqis. They are sewing shirts, or one shirt. It'd be hard to tell. This one doesn't need to go long, right? It doesn't follow that rule, but this one does. And this one's also impossible to tell whether you can't really tell if there's an object in there or not. You just get it by context. It's also an unusual verb. Like, I went into the room and people were sewing, right? Like, I don't know. Because we do a lot of these to show like how it would work, but these, I guess that's why, like, when you do advanced Tlingit, we've always got to find ways to get into conversation, because like it stays in this abstract realm until you start really using it. Ja, you did graag. Ach, Yagee has to toss a good Nakws'aatí. Has to inaya kakwa good. Kesh a datki ko K a kak kwashate. Hope you scared no kids. Gonna cheese you, hon. Keep thinking, keep asking questions about this stuff. You know, and I'll keep adding to, I know I got some more verbs to go through. We might just sort of do it from the workbook. I might be running out of gas on this slide. I'm at slide 264. I might be getting to my maximum slide capacity. But it's also like the patterns should be starting to become recognizable now. And then we'll start looking at switching the object and the subject, doing perfective, doing future, and then finding things to just continue to talk about. So, Shuhan. Naskigi. Santa Fe.
Ah,
Wush kanachka to the art. We're still getting together. Let's be in they don't have daylight savings time, so I don't even know what time it's going to be there. We should all just do away with daylight savings time. Just be consistent.
Sheesh.
Ah,
Enough cheese, Renee.
it's
Sheesh. And the
Jeez.
sheesh. Jakin.
Sheesh.
Enough cheese.
ah, sheesh.